Hey everybody, so today we're going to be doing a more battery testing as well as more diagnostics. We're going to use a battery analyzer to check this AGM battery to see if the previous quick tip recovered the battery, as well as testing out the Optima Digital 1200 and Optima Digital 400 battery chargers and maintainers. So please stick around, check out the video, and I'll see you guys there. Thank you for watching. Alright everybody, so this is the battery that we're going to be messing with today. This charger was taken off because I actually tested this Optima Digital 400 on it earlier to see if the results were to be different. This charger said it was at 100%. When I plugged this one in, it said it was at 32%, which is a drastic difference. It did also take several minutes to analyze the battery and everything else. It says it's charging now 12 volts, and it's been stuck at 95% for several hours. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to put the camera over here for a moment, and I'm gonna move this grinder. This is a rolling cart. Tangled up. Alright. We're gonna move the grinder for now. Bench grinder. Get some light set up. It is a little dusty over here. I'm just gonna do the testing in here. It'd probably be easier to move the battery, but I already mounted this one up here. I'll get some lights to make it a little easier for you guys to see. So in this video, we're going to be quickly testing the Optima. You know, we'll look at the results on the Digital 400 as well as the Digital 1200. Get some light on the situation so you guys can see it. Also going to grab both of my battery analyzers, my Foxwell 705 and my Foxwell 780 battery analyzer. I'm going to pull these out. So originally, this is an AGM battery. It was originally at 2.24 volts. It's now reading somewhere in the range of 12.5 or so. We have a multimeter right here. It'd probably be easier if I move this technically. guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move the battery. I'll bring you guys back in a second. All right, everybody. All right, so this Schumacher right here, after tricking it to charge the battery by using a good 12 volt Duralast Platinum AGM battery that I had in another vehicle, plugging the charger into the good battery and then running jumpers from the good battery to the bad battery actually did help, because it's reading 12.78. Before I turned the camera on, it was reading at 12.79. And before I turned the camera off, that Schumacher down there was reading at 12 volts is what the voltage it was putting out at saying it was 95% charged. So we are going to bring the lights in, light it up a little bit better. There you go. So we're going to be testing both of these units, see what the information they read is. These are the clamps for the 400 unit, digital 400 model. And this is a pretty wide battery and it fits pretty well. So you slide open these caps for both ends. Pop the ends together. And then we're gonna just plug it into the extension cord I have down here. Okay. So now the unit's on. It's displaying information. Make a quick selection. I'll turn one of these lights off so it's a little easier to see. It's not a little easier to see. There you go. Let's make a quick selection. So it's bouncing between on all the lights. Let me put this down and make sure this camera doesn't fall on me. I'm gonna bump it just a little bit and it falls. Alright, so this is the digital 400 model. You can do a battery pre-charge status. We click that. Pre-charge battery status. Battery normal. It says 12.8 volts. Let's see how accurate that 12.8 volts is. It also says that it's at 75%, which earlier it said it was at about 32%, which is this bar in the center. And I put it back on the Schumacher immediately. I was just trying to test the results. So let's grab the multimeter multimeter, so you guys can see it. I turned one light off. And we're gonna attach these multimeter leads. It's reading at 12.75. According to this, it's at 12.8. So it says battery's normal. It's not bad. So we'll click on automotive and marine. It also has an option for deep cycle and engine starting as well. Motorcycle and sports. So we're going to click on auto and marine. It says analyzing. There you go. Analyzing battery. It's putting the word battery together one letter at a time. Usually takes a few minutes for this. It says temperature compensation is on. I do like that you can turn the backlit off. It's very nice. The battery is now reading on the multimeter 12.84. 12.85. Put the charger down and move all these clamps. See if I can get the multimeter up here so it's easier for you guys to see. Might not be. Oh, it's not. Technically not easier for you guys to see. I'm gonna put it right here where the cables are. Says it's now at 12.96. It's now at 13.2. All it's doing is analyzing the battery at the moment. It should kick in. The voltage is steadily going up though. 13.12, 13.13. Change lights. And this might be a little bit long of a video, but I want to show you guys how these units work. The backlit display works really well. It's easy for me to see. It might not be easy for you guys to see. It's now at 13.98 volts. Alright, so it's at 13.99 volts, 9.8. It says right here, charging 12 volt large battery. Yep, 12 volt large battery, 14.0 volts, and it's amp DC, and it's showing you the active amps it's pumping in. That is something I like about these units. You know, units like that Schumacher down there, they do not tell you what voltage, or they tell you what the voltage they say they're putting in, which is normally just standard 12 volts. It's just telling you the voltage of the battery. It doesn't tell you what volts it's actually charging up to. This one says 14.0. Multimeter says 14.4. So they're pretty close. And it's saying amps DC. It's putting 2.7 amps in it right now. Now it's putting in 3 amps. And it's regulating back and forth 2.7, which I like. Temperature compensation's on, which means if it gets really hot in this house, this charger is going to compensate for the heat that's in the building. Heat the battery outside of the battery temperature might be receiving, and it's going to adjust the voltage and the ampage going into the battery so it doesn't overheat the battery because of the temperature. These type of units would be really great for really hot conditions. It's bouncing between 2.5, 2.9, and 3.0. I do like that it shows you, percentage up top. I kind of wish that the empty to fuel gauge for the battery, actual battery charge, kind of wish it was on the digital display, or it gave you more of a range, gave you like 75, 78.9, or, instead of you trying to guess. But this is actually pretty nice. I believe the bigger unit is going to be a little different on the display. 14.0 on the unit. It's 14.11 on here. Just to check it. Okay, we don't have any resistance through the lines. Pop it back on. 14.11. Oh, that light's a little easier for you guys to see. One thing I don't like about these Ames meters, if you hold the button or push the button to turn the light on, it only lasts like 20 seconds. Unless on this video it's going to prove me wrong. Maybe it's going to prove me wrong. That's funny. It's holding steady at 14.12 volts. Here it's holding steady on this screen at 14 volts. Now, we're about 10 minutes into the video. I'm not going to do like a 4-hour video and test this whole charging. We're going to give it a few more minutes, see if it fluctuates any. If it doesn't, we're going to turn this guy off. And you guys can always ask me for, another video on this unit. If you guys want to see me use it for engine starting, let me know. Could test that. If you want to see it on deep cycles, let me know. We can test it on a deep cycle. We can test it on a motorcycle or power sport battery. At the moment, the only battery I have available is an automotive and or marine battery. I do like the battery pre-charge status testing, which is very nice. I do hear a little gurgling in the battery. Just a little like that, which is normal when a battery is being charged. This battery was sunken in a little bit, not a lot, but it had on the front, it had like a little ripple effect like that. It wasn't very large. It was 1/16 of an inch worth of a ripple. It's now normalized. It's not expanded on the outside sides, and it's flat all around, so it looks good. Still holding at 14.13. This one is fluctuating on the amps DC direct current between 2.3 to 2.93 3 amps. And this unit's capable of 4 amps max. It kind of sounds like root beer when you pop the cap off and it's slightly shaken a little bit, and that gurgling, that's what it kind of sounds like. Now at 14.14. I'm surprised this unit's not showing the 14.14, but the multimeter probably is going to be a lot more accurate than this unit. It's just giving you the volts of what it sees from the battery. This is an external source. So I'm going to turn this unit off, unhook this guy, remove the multimeter out the way. We're going to unplug the clamps. And before we move to the next unit, I'm just going to move this guy aside for the moment. Just put it up there on the toolbox. Before we move to the bigger unit, what I'm going to do is we're going to pull out we're going to test both of these battery analyzers that I have, just for shits and giggles. It's a Foxwell BT705. Okay. Battery analyzer is on. Okay. It says 12.95, 12.94, 12.96. It's fluctuating a little bit. You can click enter. It's a 12-volt battery. It's out of vehicle. It is a top post. It is a AGM. I like these because they remember the last thing you used it on. crank amps. It remembers that this is a 1000 crank amp battery. Click continue. We're going to test it. It's going to put a load on the battery. Volts 12.92 volts measured, 279 MCA, rated at 1000. So we're gonna, and this one also, you can actually hook this up to a Bluetooth printer, which I did not know you could. I have the newer model, which is the 780 model, has a built-in printer. It's got Bluetooth setting right there. Battery test, 12 volt, out of vehicle, top post, AGM. We're going to check the cold crank amps. Cold crank amps is 900. Enter. It's 12.89 volts. It's measuring 221 cold crank amps, rated at 900 cold crank amps. It says replace battery. If we scroll over to 2, SOH is 25%, SOC is 100%. Resistance is 13.06. So it's quite a bit of resistance. So we're going to unhook this battery tester, or battery analyzer I should say. We're going to grab the bigger model and see what the if there's any differences in what they say. Then we'll switch to the bigger digital 1200 unit. Okay. And we're probably gonna do a follow-up video on this, and I'm gonna put it this battery on this 1200 unit for a while. We'll come back to it on another day, do a follow-up video, and see if this digital 1200 unit over here in the corner has succeeded in recovering the battery. Okay, this unit is the BT780 battery analyzer. Like I said, it's got the printer. This one actually has detachable cables. They hook right here. I wish this hole was a little bit bigger though to thread this on. Just so it doesn't come apart. This one also does turn on when it's not hooked to anything. See, the cables are right here. Both of these units, this unit I'm holding right now, as well as the 708, they both do up to 2000 amps. So battery test. This one also has back menu and enter, and they're a little more organized in my opinion. But the other one's not too hard to use. So enter battery test, Tech 1, out of vehicle. AGM. Cold crank amps, we're going to test this one for the cold crank amps. If you hold it, it will seek pretty quickly. I like the tactile buttons on these as well. 900. It's testing. Okay. Battery NR, end of life. volts, 12.80 volts, measured 223 cold crank amps, rated at 900 cold crank amps. This unit is a lot more specific. It says end of life. We scroll down. Resistance is 12.96 mega ohms. SOH is 25%. SOC is 100%. Battery type AGM. Page 3. Test type start top. Location out. Battery test. Tech 1 out of vehicle. Cold crank amps. Oops. Go back. Battery and NR, end of life. 12.78 volts, so the voltage is slightly going down, measured at 223 cold crank amps. Rating 900 crank amps. Resistance is 12.96 mega ohms, which is a whole lot of resistance. SOH 25, SOC is the same at 100. Battery AGM, test type regular, location out. So both of these units are being quite accurate. They're both saying that it's end of life basically. The great thing about this unit is when you unplug it from the battery, you can still utilize it because it's got the built-in printer. We're just gonna hold the button down, turn it off. My fingers are slightly too big to do this. You know, I could always print it, but you know, it's one of my personal batteries. I don't need to print it for that. We're at 22 minutes on the video, so we're gonna go hook the other one up as well and get the testing, checking the other one. And this unit that we just used also did come with a, this one actually straps inside the case. It also came with a USB card reader, which was kind of nice, and it came with 4 rolls of paper, which is always awesome. Especially when you're given a little bit extra of goodies. It's always helpful. This one back here. Alright, so lift this one up. We're going to pull the charging cable off of it. Just long enough to reach what we need. This one is a 3-prong with a ground prong. The other one, the 400 digital 400, is a 2-prong. This one is a 3-prong, just so you guys know. It says make a quick selection. Move the camera back over here. That's why the camera keeps wanting to fall, because I have 2 joints on this tripod. So the tripod has a joint, and then I have a pivoting joint that is attached to the camera. That's probably why it keeps doing that. Alright. So, I'm going to pop this box open. I like this setup that, you know, the clamps are attached inside this cover, which is very cool. And then what's also nice is that there's a hole for the cables to come out, just big enough for the cables. untwist this just a little bit. Should give me just enough. Untwist it. It's very nicely packaged. So we're gonna hook this guy up. These clamps are a little bit bigger because they can take more ampage. Okay. Slide the charging cable back there a little bit. Don't know if... No, there's no way to... It's just too big for me to move it. Okay, so it does say make a selection. Move the handle down. Power indicator on. Charge quick select indicator. Order cycle, flooded AGM, which we'll unplug it real quick and we're gonna replug it back in. So you can see what it's doing. Okay. This has auxiliary maintainer, which is nice. So those cables that were plugged in on the these guys, which you can find these guys on all battery tender units. These guys are capable on the side right here. You can actually plug it in on this side. It has a USB port on the side. Right there. It's a USB port and the auxiliary maintainer plug, which is really cool. Battery maintainer, LCD backlit display can be turned off on this unit as well. Battery pre-charge status, just like the 400 model. And this one does have engine starting. It's this guy right here. It has deep cycle right here, motorcycle right here, so motorcycle and power sports, and then auto and marine. So it's got the same functions. You don't have to buy both of them. You could buy whichever one you feel is comfortable with, or you can buy both of them because you want to have more than one. So we're gonna do a battery pre-charge status. So this one is actually showing a lot higher. It's not showing at 75. This one actually, the gauge gives you in betweens. It's showing at about 80, and it's showing about 90, 95 is what it's showing at. Yeah, it looks like 95, which that's pretty nice. It's a little, it has more range for you to estimate where it is. Voltage DC is 12.6 volt is what it's saying. So battery maintainer, and then we're going to click on 12 volt standard flood and AGM, auto and marine. It's going to analyze just like the other model. Let me move this light over. I know it might be hard to see. Does the same thing as the other one. It one letter at a time spells the word battery. I don't think I can bring the camera any closer. Not with this tripod, I can't. No. Sorry you guys can't read it. It's going to sit here for however many minutes. It might be a little faster than the 4 amp. Yeah, the light definitely does calm this. This external light definitely does calm this screen down. Might be, it's a little easier for you guys to see like that, so I'm gonna just leave the flashlights on. That might help. there it goes. It actually helps a little bit. And we're going to see the information on what it states when it comes up. And then I'll bring you guys back on another video. I'm going to move the battery back where it was, plug this back in, and we're just going to let it run and charge, see how it does. And while I'm at it, since I'm sitting here, I'm going to plug the multimeter back in. See what information we have on this multimeter. Multimeter is showing, let me move try the kickstand, 13.75. Now it's bumped up to 14.34, which is a lot higher than the 4 amp was. This unit is now saying it's at 75%, so it's pretty close and dang near 100% accurate to the 400 or 4 amp model. It's saying 14.1 volts, showing 14.41 on here. It says amps DC 5.2, 5.4, 5.7. No, it's not helpful over there. What happens if I try to turn the light on? No. There's no way for me to get the camera close enough. It's 14.44, 42, 43, 44. You can definitely hear the battery. Kind of sounds like bubbling. I will definitely monitor this to make sure that it doesn't get hot or, you know, expand or anything like that. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. The mic might not pick it up. It's only making that noise when it's actually charging. It was not making that noise on that guy down there. But it is with both of these units. So it might be doing its job. I would be very careful. I'd monitor that if you guys are trying to do this to recover a battery. If that bubbling gets louder, if the battery physically feels hot, discontinue charging. Don't mess with it. It does say charging 12 volt large battery. It says volts DC 14.3. This still says 14.48, 46, 47, 48, 49. So it's fluctuating. We're going to unplug the multimeter since we've got our test data and information. Says it's charging at 4.5 amps. It's holding pretty steady at 4.5 amps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unhook the battery. I'm going to move the battery back where I had it, out of my way, off my cart. We're going to put this over there. We're going to let it charge. And I actually put this guy up here. I actually had it mounted on the wall, which was a nice place for it because I could just run the wires over to the battery from there and just leave it hanging on the wall, walk up to it and monitor and check it. This one's got to be sitting on a table. Probably going to just put it on top of the battery when we get in there, just like I had that guy. I had it just sitting on top of the battery. I do not think that these do 6 volt at all because it says 12 volt performance charger. Both of them, both of the Optima chargers say that. They don't say anything about 6 volts. So do not use this on a 6 volt battery. It may tell you that it's not capable of even charging that. These are very smart units. But it's now at 4.7, 4.4 amps, 4.7. I do like that it's telling you what ampage is going into the unit. So when you do testing, the battery pre-charge test, it thinks this battery is at 95%, which means that that charger down there is just as accurate as these chargers, because that charger was saying when I unhooked it, because it said 100%, maintaining, it was fully charged at 100%, it was maintaining that battery. It was saying that the battery had 12 volts. When I unhooked that and tested that just to see what the results would be, just testing it real quick, and I rehooked that Schumacher back up, that Schumacher said it was at, the battery is at 95%, and it said the battery is at 95% for like 5 or 6 hours. Same with the 400 digital 400 model. We did a battery pre-charge status. That one said it was at 75%. It could have been higher because that 400 model doesn't have this style gauge. It's just got the 5 lights. Where this one actually has a full-size fuel gauge. And this one, when we did the battery pre-charge status test, it said it was at 95%, which is that line right before the 100, because the 100's in the middle. When we set it to auto and marine to start charging, it pushed it to 75%. So this one doing a battery status test, and it's stating that it's 95, and that Schumacher on the floor stating it's 95, which means that the Schumacher is accurate. It is working like it's supposed to. I've had that Schumacher for about 7 years now, a little more. Use it on a lot of vehicles. Temperature compensation's on, just like the other unit. If it gets extremely hot in this room or extremely cold in this room, this charger will monitor the temperature of the battery. It will monitor the temperature in the room as well. If it gets too hot or too cold in here, it will change the charging rate based off of the temperature of the battery. It will also auto shut off if this battery gets too hot. Case, you know, an example, I can't monitor it 24 hours, you know, for the next 2-3 days or however long it's on it. I can't monitor it. There's no way for me to stay awake that long. So this will monitor it for me, and if it finds a problem, it will cut all power, so nothing catastrophic happens. But I do appreciate you guys watching. Please let me know if this video is helpful. I have a few other, I'll link in the cards up here for the other videos I have done, the quick tip videos, the quick tip video on how you could try to recover this by hooking it to a good battery, which it obviously has done that well, because it was at 2.24 volts. Now it's at above 12 volts. Without the charger, it was reading at 12.55 volts earlier, without any units attached to it, like we showed you earlier, or I showed you earlier. And now it's reading, you know, 14.3 here. The actual multimeter is reading 4.5 or 14.5. So me hooking it up to another 12 volt battery and using that Schumacher, plugging that Schumacher into the good battery and running jumpers from the good battery to this battery, did allow that charger to bring the voltage back up. So that's, hopefully that trick might help you guys save your battery. Now, like I showed with the battery analyzers, that does not guarantee that the battery will go back up to the cold cranking amp capacity it's rated at. That was why I showed you the battery analyzers, both of them. I also wanted to see how accurate they are and comparable they were to each other. But it's just good information. Battery analyzers, those are not cheap, but you can get one from like Top Don for like 65 bucks. That will do 2,000 cold crank amps, just like those guys. The Foxwell 708 was 160 bucks. It's normally like $169, somewhere in there. I paid about a 90 something for it. The 780 model is normally $299. I paid somewhere in the range of, it was like $220 something. I think it was like $201 plus tax, something like that. So they're not cheap, but the Top Gun model, I'm seeing if Top Gun could, send me one. I don't have one of those models, but I do know that a lot of people that have used it, the $65 one, they love it. But let me know down below if this information's helpful. Please like, comment, subscribe, smoosh and smash the bell notification icon for future updates. Go check out my Amazon affiliate links, my Acme Tools affiliate links, my DJI Electronics affiliate links, and my Ohio Power Tools affiliate links. And go check out the live stream I did from the Milwaukee NPS 2020, aka Pipeline event, episode 1. I did it live. It was a live event. All the tools that were shown to be coming out soon on the Pipeline event, in that live stream, I do have links down below. One for Ohio Power Tools. It says Ohio Power Tools Pipeline 2020. That link will take you to the page with all the tools that is posted on Ohio Power Tools at the moment for episode 1. I have the same type of link for Acme Tools that states Acme Tools, Milwaukee NPS 2020 Pipeline. That will take you to Acme Tools. If you guys like Acme Tools better, take you to Acme Tools and show you all of the tools, as well as I do have several links down below in that video if you guys are interested in certain tools, like the couple vacuums, a couple items that I had posted, a couple flashlights that they've released. Some of the tools I posted individual links for, a lot of them I didn't. If you want to see the impacts or anything like that, the impact wrenches or anything like that, you're just going to have to click on the main link that says Milwaukee Pipeline 2020 for either Acme Tools or Ohio Power Tools, and it will take you to the list. If anything's interesting to you, I appreciate you guys. If you want to pre-order it, use my link. It would be much appreciated. Helps me do videos like this. This unit was $200. I paid, it was about $160 something dollars. It was $152 for it, and that included the tax. The 4 amp model, which was the 400, the digital 400, that one's normally $89. I paid $52 for it from a supplier of mine. I will leave links in this video, as well as all the other battery videos that I've released so far. With this, the 400 model, I'll leave a link for that specific model Schumacher that I have, because it's very accurate, as well as I have on the way, I have the bigger model of that guy, which is this one's a 2 and a 6 amp charger maintainer, a 30 amp boost, and a 100 amp engine start. The one I just grabbed, I paid $52 for it. It is a 3 amp charger maintainer, and it is a 15 amp rapid charger, and it does I think it's like a 140 amp engine start, and I think it's like, it said like 50 amp boost, something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'll also link that guy, this one up here, as well as the one that I haven't received yet, if you guys are interested in looking at those. Again, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your guys' time. Hopefully it didn't bore you to death. Hopefully you found this informative. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace!